All right, 2008 Ford F-150. If you're familiar with these trucks, or if you own one, you might have found that this is a two-wheel drive, by the way. Middle leaf likes to break on them. This one right here, this one that broke the leaf on the other side. It's clanging and banging whenever you hit a bump with it. So I was gonna order a full leaf pack because I've done that before on my wife's nephew, snot-nosed punk. Has one of these trucks, four-wheel drive crew cab, and he broke both rear leaves in exactly the same spot. They break right here behind the U-bolt. Probably seen that. So that one we replaced bolts, U-bolts, springs, shackles, everything. But this time Napa told me about these quick leaves, clip leaves, I guess they're called. This is what they look like. It's just the middle leaf, so you just take the U-bolts and center bolts and stuff out, and you can just replace those. These ones are from Standens. Got them in Napa. Pretty slick, I found. This side's done. Here's what they look like when they're installed. So see, hopefully they're a little heavier than the stock ones. If you've got one of these trucks, you probably realize that you put your quad in the back and it's ready to break a spring. These things look like they belong on a baby stroller, not a truck. So anyways, Ford's crappy junk always breaks. See what Standens stuff's like. So if you do this, let's see what size of those. 7/8 will work on your U-bolts here, knock those out. For whatever reason, they've got 15mm on the bolt side of your shock and 18mm on the nut. So knock your shock out, take your shock out. I'm replacing these with coilovers, so you can leave if you're going to reuse your shocks, leave the top one in. Take your U-bolts off, and then you're probably going to have to make sure you order new, or the springs might even come with new center bolts, because you're going to have to cut those off. I doubt you're going to be able to get those out. You don't want to reuse them even if you can. Then I got a hoist, so what I do is lift it up like that. But if you're doing this on the ground, you're going to have to just jack it up a bit and make sure you got your axle supported before you knock those U-bolt nuts off. Then just because it's probably broken anyway, the spring's probably broken anyways, just cut the clip here on both sides, front rear. Take that middle leaf out, put some new center bolts in with a copious amount of never sees on everything. Oops, I got my finger out of the picture. And then you can bolt it all back up. I'll show you what the other side looks like. So we got new U-bolts on this one. They're fine thread and they don't have nylocks like the crappy Ford ones. So there you are. What you gotta do, and then I'll show you, we gotta put those plastic sliders and bolts in and stuff. So I'll show you as I do the other side of this thing, how you do, best way to take care of doing it. Okay, got the other side in. Here's what it looks like. Just lift it. These are nice and light. They're not like a full spring pack, so they're a little nicer to work with. Make sure you just put that plastic insert. Make sure it's in there, doesn't fall out when you put it in. Put the spring on. Get your two center bolts in there. New ones in. You'll have to cut the old ones out. Ford uses two center bolts, so you get those slapped in there. It's a good idea to buff all the rust off of these pads and the spring perch down there, and then underneath the perch here, where your clamp's gonna, so your U-bolt plate's gonna sit. So these, then you got to put your, let's let it down a little. So if you're doing this with a jack, you're gonna have to get quite a bit of clearance between your axle and the spring, so you're gonna be jacking it up and down a lot before you get enough clearance to put your U-bolt or your center bolts in. So once you get that lined up, remember they're longer towards the rear, so put them in the right way, or else this is going to be way too close up here to your perch. Then you got to put this sleeve in and stick a bolt through there. It's pretty self-explanatory. 9/16 on these ones. Then put your U-bolts on, center bolts on, cut them off to length, and you're done. So this is a lot quicker than changing shackles and full spring packs and all that stuff. Hopefully the new spring is a little bit better quality. There's the old one that came out of this side. It wasn't broken yet, but I'm sure it was on its way. Here's the one out of the other side that busted off. Been busted for a little while. Real high quality stuff. This truck doesn't even haul anything. There's what it's going to look like when you're done. Cut the U-bolts off and stuff. New U-bolts. These U-bolts that I got from stand-ins don't have the Nylocks like the factory Ford junk that it came with. I would suggest that you should replace the U-bolts when you do this job. If you want to be ultra cheap, I guess you could reuse them. These ones actually don't look that bad. They came out pretty easy, surprisingly. But you're definitely going to need new center bolts if you do this. You don't want to try and reuse those things. They're going to be rusted in there pretty bad. So I'll get this buttoned up and show you what she all looks like. So here you just got to stick your back underneath there. Here we are. I'm gonna torque up these U-bolts here, leaf springs in. Just show you something, a trick that you might already be doing, but maybe not. Okay, so it's torqued up. There we go. Hit it with a hammer a couple times. That. How much more of a turn you get out of it. So just give them a tap to see them good. Torque them. Until you stop turning. There you go. Got a true torque value on that. So, got the U-bolts done, new shocks. So that's the spring. Nice easy install on these. All you gotta do is get your old U-bolts out. Hopefully they're not too rusted. This truck came apart really easy, but it's pretty low miles. As usual with Fords, leaf spring broke. This thing doesn't even have 100,000 K on it, and it's got a super easy life. Doesn't haul anything, doesn't tow anything, hardly even goes on the highway. But town roads are kind of rough. But yeah, busted off the other side. This side was probably gonna bust pretty quick. So instead of fighting with these rusty shackle bolts and replacing shackles and cutting bolts off and stuff, you can just get these clip leaves. They're cheaper too, instead of a full leaf pack or trying to replace a bunch of different bolts and hardware. And we'll see how long they last. Hopefully we don't have any problems with them. Hopefully they last for several more years or the life of the truck, but that's definitely cheaper and faster repair. So these bolts just make sure you put lots of never sees on, so when your crappy Ford springs break again, everything comes apart easy. These bolts have the sleeve here. I like that system better than the clips that you have to bend around like the old springs had. All right, so that's what I did on this thing today. Gave it some coilover shocks, so hopefully that'll help with keeping the back end a little bit more stable, and also just helping the springs so they don't break. Still taking videos with my phone here, so they're not the highest quality, but hopefully it helps somebody. It's not a bad job to replace these. Just remember to make sure you order new U-bolts and 4 new center bolts, because it takes 2 of them, and you're definitely going to have to cut off the center bolts. You might be able to reuse the U-bolts. All right, YouTubers, stay safe. Don't drop a truck on yourself.